Okay, so is this thing telling me that user Hangouts on air is not going to be working, or just some feature of Hangouts on air? Because attempts to encode something in the past has not quite run encoded before. Well, I did a live stream once with that, and it didn't go well. I'll just leave that there. It didn't go well. I wanted to do a kind of vlog last week because last Saturday of the month I want to do some kind of video thing. The problem is I've got a bunch, still got some congestion in my throat. I'm still coughing a bit. I need, let's see. So, but coughing, hacking stuff up, surprisingly doesn't look good on camera. I know, I'm as shocked as you are. So yeah, I'm going to, we'll have a video at the end of this month. In fact, I found my old BW paneling video finally. It was on my backup drive. I'm going to move it over to my project drive so I know I have it, and then at some point I still want to make that new one, but this way I can at least get those videos out there. I haven't had a chance to really focus on that. So we'll get that done. So, as soon as I'm done with this, I will be doing an article for the Clutter Reports at clutterreport.wordpress.com to discuss these guys. These guys. These guys. These guys. Guys. Here. I love minicons. Minicons are just fun. This is really fun addition that I wish they hadn't just completely altered for Robots in Disguise, because they not quite the same as these were, and they don't connect the same, they don't function the same. It's really too bad. But I'm going to do an article on them. Larger transformers that I need for my demonstration for the article. But I do need to get while I'm distracted by the smell of bread, my dad's finally trying out the bread maker that my mom got, and he was thinking about getting rid of, but instead he decided to try it out, which is good because bread maker is a nice thing to have if you know how to use it. It does most of the work for you, and we can do. I'm not sure how much money we save. I think it depends how much the materials cost versus the actual bread, but we'll see. When you got a bread maker, use it. That's what I say. Nice, tasty, fresh, warm bread. Waiting for it to cool down. Also, I'm going to, one last update thing, I'm going to mess around with the Patreon awards a bit to drop some things down. Not be me anymore. Probably won't. I've got 92 subscribers here. When do people follow my websites? I'm not getting a lot of, like, I got a whole ton of people following me on the two Twitters, and they post links to the articles, and it's not, not really boosting my view count. So I don't have any hopes that the Patreon is going to be better, but just because at the level of what I'm creating right now, some of the rewards seem a bit silly. Like, if I'm doing one video a month, why am I doing videos for each tier of work that it takes to produce them? If I'm doing do a reward for one a month. And if I start making more complex videos, if I start doing more videos, sorry, the ultimate goal would be one a week, obviously. But right now, the goal is one a month. So I think the tiers need to reflect the work that I'm doing now. And I may cut down the art tier as well, and because until I can start making more stuff on a regular basis for drawing articles like Recovered or Reconstruction Zone, comic articles like Captain PSA. Because right now all I'm doing is Jake and Leon. And a brief preview of what's coming up. How many of you recognize what's in there? But that's what's coming up in tomorrow night's comic. I just gotta color and letter it. Then color and letter it. So we'll see what happens there. Yeah, I'm gonna try to mess with that. I've got some other distractions right now. It's going to take a little precedent. So with that, I want to talk about something that I've actually mentioned while reviewing. This is Mask number 2 from IDW. Original Mask series probably recognize these characters. They aren't in here. Oh, there's a Matt Tracker. There's a Gloria Baker. There's a Brad Turner. There's also Julio Lopez, who's not on this cover, but he was part of the second wave Mask agents. And this is not a reflection of what's in there. I'm not going to go into the whole details with the Hasbro history. Suffice to say, IDW is trying to make a shared universe out of their Hasbro characters. So Transformers, G.I. Joe, ROM, Mask. And that's it for now. And so basically now it's a point where it was created to hunt Transformers or something, and it's powered by Or-13, which is the Earth term for Energon in this continuity. And it's unnecessarily convoluted. I can see why they're doing it because actually, no, I actually don't. I do and I don't. I mean, of course, the whole Marvel Cinematic Universe has made shared universes a thing, but comics have been doing that for years, decades. I mean, we have plenty of Transformers, G.I. Joe crossovers. Like, I understand it, but why do this now? Why? Because Hasbro decided they might try to do that with their movie studio and create a shared universe there. I don't think it's really necessary. I think it's a waste. I'm not totally against it, but I don't think it's really a requirement. You know, let these things stay in their own. But this thing is so different from the Mask I knew that you might as well just call it Vortec. Vortec was a kind of an attempt to bring back the Mask concept. I mean, it was quite a bit different. And if I don't really remember how it went, but I think it would have been closer to working this formula than Mask would. Because now we've got Mask Tracker is now this young black kid who was recruited for some secret group, and now it turns out that the group's leader, who's Miles Mayhem, had an ulterior motive, and Gloria Baker's different. Brad Turner's now a former DA agent who still has the world. Hondo, who is the actual black character in the show, and high school history teacher in his million identity. Dusty Hayes, not here. Alex Sector, not here. Gloria Baker, when I first saw her in Revolution Mask, I kind of pictured her as having Vanessa Warfield's personality. She didn't like men. She had issues with men. She had a bad attitude. Cruzado, right hand. I think he's supposed to be Japanese. Not here. Hang on a minute. Sorry. been bugging for a while. I should see a doctor suggest it, but we'll see what happens. I got picked up some medicine. But here's the thing. I've read the Revolution Mask show, and then the first 2 issues here. They're well written. The characters are good. The concept is pretty interesting. But this isn't Mask. This cover is Mask. The comic inside. Let me show you. Show you a few things here. I can find. Yeah, okay. Bruno Shepard is now a cyborg. And here's a look at the Venom masks. The updated masks are pretty cool. The updated vehicles. Let me show you. There's a good shot here. Thunderhawk. That's actually pretty cool. I kind of like the updated mechanical designs. It's the updates to the characters' designs and personalities I don't care for. Julio's still a doctor, but civilian identity. He's actually cryptography, but he's civilian, like he's a medical doctor. I don't know why he wasn't an archaeologist, but you know, it's good to have him. But Hondo, this is Matt Tracker now. No Scott and T-Bob, which I'm sure makes some of you who hate ecstatic. A discussion for another time, perhaps. Sorry. But, yeah, these are the characters I want to see. And I like it updated masks. I don't expect them to be carbon copies of the original, but I would like some updated version of the characters. And what I'm getting is a reimagining. I enjoy a good update. Not the best cover to use. This is the Masters of the Universe from MV Creations. This is the faceless one from the 2000 series. This was a good update. This is a reimagining. I like reimaginings. I like updates. Because, you know, I don't expect them to be doing 80s type stories in the 2000s. For some I understand, some I don't agree with. Whatever. It is. You know, it is what it is. Good update. The Master Universe 2000, my only problem with the show was they worked too hard to show that they were strong and powerful. You know, always leaping with huge bounds and crash, and I thought that was a bit much. But otherwise, you know, character-wise, design-wise, I thought they were pretty good. The action figures were terrible, but the character designs in the show were pretty good. I'm sorry, I just never liked the toys that were produced in the 2000s because they kept having like locked poses. So you have He-Man would be like, and this is his expression. This is, and his neck bent down like this. Was locked in a pose, and you know, I like being able to, you know, maybe a slight bend, or you know, or actually have a joint that you can move around in, like the He-Man classics, like kind of updated versions of the classic designs, but the essence of the original character is still there. We even got back the original design of the Power Sword, which we haven't had since New Adventures. But an update is good. The story in there was that they were telling in the BIOS was actually pretty interesting. Not so much the DC comics. I didn't like the way Teela was portrayed. I didn't like certain other things that happened in it. And it just did not impress me very much. I picked up a few issues that you can find spotlight.com. It just did. You know, I like a good update. Here's the problem with reimagining. Reimagining is an update is new versions of things I liked. So maybe it has a new angle or something, but it's basically this thing I grew up with. The themes are there, the characters are there. They're a bit. They're a little more exciting. I can go for that. Reimagining is taking these characters. Oh, I did not mean that to actually fall into the garbage. This is actually, because this is good writing. I did not want that to fall in the garbage can. Sorry. Oops. Because it's not garbage. That's what I think it makes me even more upset, is that this is good writing. These are interesting characters. Had this been something, heck, I hadn't been Vortec. I wasn't really into Vortec. Vortec was poorly written and not very good. If they wanted to concept again and make it better, I'd have been all for it. But they didn't make Vortec. They made Mask. Mask is something I grew up with. It's something I still enjoy. This isn't Mask. This is Mask. This isn't Mask. It kind of is. But the characters that are doing this stuff are not Mask. Bruno is not a cyborg now because of something Matt Trekker did. Matt, Mask is this big organization meant to fight terrorism. But I think maybe because they're trying to shove Mask in the same universe as G.I. Joe, which, there are similarities between Mask and Venom and G.I. Joe and Cobra. Just that Cobra happens to be a bit flashier than Venom can be. And then there's a disconnect there. But they don't want to repeat that formula, so they want something else. I understand, but then that's the problem with trying to put Mask in the same universe as G.I. Joe. And, but even then, I think, now that I'm thinking about it, maybe it could work. G.I. Joe is the military group. Mask is a special ops organization. It's kind of different in that sense. They're like a secret ops, or they're like the secret ops group. Illusion is the ultimate weapon. Originally, they were supposed to go up against the Cybertronians, but now, thanks to Mayhem, they now have to fight each other. There's still would have been worse last week, I promise you. But it would have been interesting. And that's not what we're getting. And that's the problem with the reimagining. Like, Battlestar Galactica. People tell me Battlestar Galactica, the remake, was a great show. Congratulations, it wasn't Battlestar Galactica. The character names are now call signs. It's too much like Earth. There's no... The original Battlestar Galactica was kind of an analog of a spiritual journey. The remake of Battlestar Galactica was more of a war refugee story. People trying to escape and questions of robotics and science and good ideas. That's not what the original series was going for. They weren't trying to be a war story. The war was simply because Star Wars was popular and that's what ABC wanted. But the focus was primarily on this journey and a journey. Like I said, analog of a spiritual quest. Glenn Larson was, I guess he was kind of religious. You can see in some of his other works, there are. Haley Smith and Jones was a redemption story. It was an episode of that was also kind of a redemption story. So is maybe, I don't know if that's a common theme in all this work, but certainly was going for it. Really about redemption. It was the journey that they go on. It was a journey of discovery. the new series, maybe it is really good. It's not what I came for. These aren't, they don't feel like an update of the characters. They feel like brand new characters who just happen to have these old names. And the problem with this is with reimagining, if it takes hold, this becomes the new definitive version. At the very least, it's the version that's out there now. This is these are the masks that are out there now. This is the mask I grew up with. And I cannot see any new stories about this. I cannot see an updated use of this concept. Instead, a story that bears the name, that has a few of the trappings, but it's not the same thing. And that's what bugs me about reimagining, because I don't want to see a reimagining. If you don't, reimagining is taking something I was interested in, making it so different, you might as well make it something new. And you know what? It was something new. If the stuff that's in this comic was a new comic, was a new property, new concept, I totally have been into it. Jersey Droz and Mark Rudolph did an online comic once called Switch Runners, which was in the mask concept and doing an original story. Like, let's pretend this was a toy line. How would we sell this fake toy line? And the Switch Runner vehicles are kind of similar to the masked vehicles. And that was pretty good. It was a good story, good characters. It was a one-shot story. I still think they should have done little mini comics, like they would packed in with comics. The first series of mask comics had one of 3 mini comics. I would have loved to have seen that, but that's not what we got. But what we got was still pretty good. But it was an original idea. It went completely in its own direction, and didn't say this is a new version of Mask. It said this is a new, completely original property, new concept. There's a different reason why these people have transforming vehicles, and and the Vortex thing I mentioned was the same thing. There's a different reason why they have transforming vehicles and wore masks. I don't think the masks in Vortex had special powers. That was a missed opportunity. But that was something, but it was something new and different. I didn't like Vortex because it wasn't very good. Took the mask concept and went its own direction. I like that. I like to see a base concept does something completely different, but not when it's telling me this is the new version of something I grew up with, of something that I enjoy. That's missing, and that does not make me happy. And because it also means I'm not getting, if somebody wanted to make a Bass comic that was closer to this, I can't get it. This is right now, this, and it features things that are not what I came to ask for. And that's it's disappointing to me, because I want to like this. I really want to like this. But every time I see this, I keep expecting this and not getting it. And it just taints me to being able to enjoy the comic as it is. If they could have taken this writing style and gotten closer to the original characters, just like an updated version behind this. But as it is, this is the last issue I plan to get. And maybe the other ones are going to be really good. But I'm too tied to this. Because to me, this isn't just intellectual property. I grew up with these characters. They're a part of my history. The stories I grew up with are part of what makes me the writer that I am and want to be. And to see those ideas, see those characters replaced with people who have their name, it's like replacing your dog with another dog. It may be a really nice dog. You grow to love it. Dog. It's not the dog that you grew up with since 5 years old. And so it's not quite the same because you kind of realize you're not getting your dog back. And let's say your dog isn't even dead. It's more days of, well, you got to play with this dog now. Maybe somewhere down the line, this other dog will be brought back. Maybe. Yeah. Back my dog, damn it. I've never owned a dog. Or like regular dog. But that's the kind of thing. For example, I've recently rewatching Linkara's March of the Titans, and he was talking about how the Teen Titans that he grew up with, he got into comics because of a crossover event called, or a miniseries called GLA Titans: The Technis Imperative. Go check out his review. It's really interesting. It's what got him into comics. Being told that this team that he liked, that he grew up with, that influenced his view on comics and everything. I mean, now in Rebirth, DC is trying to bring back the original Titans because they're trying to cover up some of their mistakes. But at the same time, you had, at the time we did the video and all this time between, the New 52 first said, yeah, we had Teen Titans, they were just the new version. And in summer, by the time they went to collect the book into a trade, took that line out. And now we're saying that these characters never existed. This history never existed. All this years of history that got him excited no longer existed. And DC had done this before. Crisis on Infinite Earths. And that was a good story, but a failed project because they didn't think everything through, and characters were hurt. Donna Troy's been had so many origins right now. I think she has outdone the Joker in The Dark Knight. It affected all these other characters because they decided some character stories are going to be rebooted, some are going to be altered, and some never happened at all. And it affects so much. And New 52 was somehow less thought out than the post-crisis DC universe. So figure that one out. It also wasn't as good, and it's gotten a lot more backlash. Maybe because the internet exists now, I don't know. But point is, these aren't just intellectual. This is something that you need to remember as a creator. If you did your job right, writers who these things did their jobs right, these aren't just characters, aren't just little properties. They mean something to your audience. These characters meant something. Meant enough that the guy doing these covers, alternate covers, wanted to draw the original Mask team, not the current Mask team. It meant enough that there's you in here. Where is it? There. There's an interview with Doug Sloan who played Matt Tracker. There's fan pages here. And in issue 1, somebody actually had a T-Bob. So yes, somebody likes Cotton T-Bob. He went and built himself this T-Bob little statue-like thing. So, I mean, there are fans of the original. And they're not getting a new version of their universe, of their characters. They're getting new characters with old names. I was talking to my friend on the phone, and he came up with an interesting idea. that I kind of would have liked to have seen too. um, Keep it in the same continuity. Have the show be about an adult Scott Tracker leading a new. All have to be the sons and daughters of the original team, maybe one or two, just so he has someone to talk to as a frame of reference. But for the most part, they could be new characters. And then here's Scott Tracker, who now leads the mask for his father. Maybe T-Bob's gotten a nice, cool upgrade. And he's going to be, maybe he can be Venom. Maybe he's, well, I haven't seen it yet, but from what I hear about Kylo Ren in Force Awakens, he's like a Darth Vader fanboy. He wants to bring that all back. That could be interesting. Somebody who wants to bring back the Venom group and live by Miles Mayhem's ideals or something. I mean, there are ways you can continue the story, but I would have been satisfied with an update. But I got a reimagining, and it means that these aren't my characters. This is not what I grew up with. This isn't even what I grew up with. And yeah, that's going to bug me, because these are not just not some intellectual property. These were characters to me. These were not quite the same as real people. I followed their adventures. I got my sense of who they were, and I had some of the toys, and I have my own adventures, and it was all pretty cool. And I would like to see that again. I'd like to see maybe a new version of those characters, or what are they doing now, 20 years hence? What is Scott Tracker leading a new mask team? Is Matt retired, maybe just doing what Dwayne Kennedy used to do? This is the kind of things that would interest me, or just a new generation, new version of these characters. What would an updated Matt Tracker be like if he was his original self? The original idea that he started this team to fight Venom, and he's a wealthy man. He's got a son. He's got a robot. I would like to see that. I would like to see that updated, seeing what a new take on that would be. It's a whole new concept with drapings of the old, and sometimes it works like Battlestar Galactica. Sometimes it fails like Gem, and sometimes it can be good. But when you're banking on nostalgia and you don't deliver nostalgia, you're going to lose people. This lost me, and it's too bad, because it's good. I'd like to see what else this writer does, just not this. Because I want the originals back. And maybe it means I'm not giving it a fair shake, but you made something nostalgic. Give me nostalgia. That's why some people are upset about the new Power Rangers movie. That's why, well, actually, there are a whole lot of reasons people were upset with Gem. I guess Gem was just not even a good movie on its own right. But that's how I feel. And it's something that if I was told to bring back something, something, not necessarily something I grew up with. Probably don't have a chat here. All right, let's say Yogi Bear. I was supposed to bring back Yogi Bear, and they wanted me to update the thing. I wouldn't do an updated version, but it would be still kind of feel like Yogi, Voodoo, Cindy, and Ranger Smith. It'd be an updated idea, some updated ideas, but it wouldn't so much that you didn't recognize them. Compare that to what DC's been doing with some of the Hanna-Barbera stuff. Snagglepuss is now some old actor in some anthropomorphic world or something. And the Wacky Racers are now Death Race 2000. I wouldn't want to change something that radically. Update it, make it fresh, make it new, start, give them a chance to be themselves, feel to the audience they grew up with, like the thing they fell in love with when they were a kid or just recently. That's what I'm calling for. Not a reimagining. Less reimaginings, more updates. You go reimagine something, create something new, sell it as something different. Sell it. Say you were inspired by this whole property, and we'll come check it out. Some people are going to judge it based on the inspiration, but a lot of us are going to take it as in face value. And what it is instead of what you were hoping to see, with what you expect to see when you see Mask or Battlestar Galactica or Wacky Races, we're not going to be happy. You're never going to make everybody happy, but I think you can make more people happy by doing a proper update instead of a reimagining. And think of how many more people will be tuning into that. Just a thought. So now that I found the old VW paneling, I'm going to go start working on the 3 panels from last year's ConnectiCon. Hopefully I'll get to go to this year's ConnectiCon. We'll see what happens. I'm still recovering from the surgeries and still some other upheavals that hopefully will be coming to an end. I'm getting better and better. Found out this little bump I've got in my belly could simply be scar tissue pushing skin up rather than a hernia. So that's a plus. Still got a lot of healing to do. Still got a lot of the scars to get rid of. Still trying to get my strength back and trying to get my blood use effect is not thin anymore and all this other stuff. So I'm hoping to make ConnectiCon, but we'll have to see what happens. The fact that I got to go one day last year is at least helpful. Even went for a few hours with my cousin, so we'll see. But yeah, like I said, every month I want to do something, whether it's the panels or a review or some other video project or just a vlog for this where I ramble for a bit. I want to have one video every month at the last Saturday of the month. That's my goal. And once I can reach that goal, then I'll start working and maybe make a second video a month. And we'll go from there. But that's that. Until then, I wish you, our sound off, happy creating. Or happy enjoyment of creation. Whatever suits you best.